You wake up tired. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You scroll instead of reading. You skip the workout. You choose comfort over clarity. And every time you do, a small part of you knows the truth. You're not failing because life is hard. You're failing because you haven't built the structure that makes discipline automatic. Self-discipline doesn't feel good at first. It feels like friction, like resistance, like you're fighting yourself just to do what you already know you should do. And that's exactly why most people quit before they ever feel the freedom on the other side. This isn't a video about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about understanding why discipline feels so heavy in the beginning, and how that weight transforms into the lightest thing you'll ever carry. By the end of this, you'll know why your brain resists structure, how ancient philosophy solved this thousands of years ago, and what you can do today to stop negotiating with yourself every single morning. The Stoics understood something most people miss. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from wanting only what moves you forward. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, but he didn't wake up inspired every day. He woke up and did what needed to be done. Epictetus was born a slave, but he chose his thoughts, his responses, his character. That's where real power lies, not in circumstances, in choices. Small, repeated, non-negotiable choices. Let's start with the first principle. Discipline is the price of autonomy. Every time you avoid the hard thing, you hand control to something else. Your mood, your comfort, your fear. The algorithm, other people's opinions. You think you're choosing freedom, but you're actually choosing dependence. You depend on feeling ready. You depend on external conditions being perfect. And because they never are, you stay stuck. The Stoics called this slavery. Not chains on your body, but chains on your will. Here's the modern version. You want to write, but you wait until inspiration hits. You want to get in shape, but you wait until you feel motivated. You want to build something, but you wait until the conditions feel right. Meanwhile, months pass, years pass, and the only thing that grew was your list of reasons why it didn't happen. Discipline flips this. It says, I don't wait for permission from my feelings. I act, and the feelings follow. That's autonomy. That's freedom. Action step. Pick one thing you've been avoiding. Not the biggest thing. Just one. Tomorrow morning, do it before you check your phone. No negotiation. No internal debate. You do it because you decided, and your word to yourself is final. Do this for 7 days, and watch how the rest of your day changes. Not because you're suddenly motivated, because you're no longer at war with yourself. Second principle. Resistance is information. When you feel that pull to quit, to distract, to delay, that's not weakness. That's your brain trying to protect you from discomfort. It's doing its job. But here's what the Stoics knew. Discomfort is not danger. Your mind can't tell the difference between a real threat and the threat of effort. So it fires the same alarm. It says, stop, this is hard, you might fail, you might look foolish, just stay safe. And if you listen every time, you'll stay small every time. Think about the last time you procrastinated on something important. A difficult conversation. A creative project. A new habit. What did your mind tell you? Probably something like, you're too tired. You'll do it better later. It's not the right time. What if it doesn't work? Those thoughts aren't truth. They're defense mechanisms. And the moment you recognize them as that, they lose power. You stop obeying them. You start observing them. You say, I see you fear, I see you doubt, but I'm moving anyway. Action step. The next time you feel resistance, pause. Don't react. Don't obey. Just notice it. Name it. Say out loud or write down, I'm feeling resistance because I'm about to do something that matters. Then do it anyway. not with force, with awareness. This turns resistance into fuel. It becomes proof you're on the right path, not evidence you should stop. Third principle. Identity follows action, not the other way around. You don't need to believe you're disciplined to act disciplined. You act first. The belief catches up. Most people wait to feel like a different person before they change their behavior. That's backwards. The Stoics didn't talk about becoming virtuous. They talked about acting virtuously, over and over, until the action became the identity. Here's the trap. You say, I'm not a morning person, so you don't wake up early. You say, I'm not creative, so you don't create. You say, I'm not disciplined, so you don't build discipline. You're using identity as an excuse, not a result. But identity isn't fixed. It's a story you tell based on patterns you repeat. Change the pattern. The story rewrites itself. You don't need to feel like a runner to run. You run, and eventually, you become someone who runs. The feeling is a byproduct, not a prerequisite. Action step. Stop saying I am and start saying I do. Replace I'm not a disciplined person with I'm someone who's building discipline through daily action. Then prove it with one small behavior. Wake up at the same time. Write 1 paragraph. Do 10 push-ups. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is you did it. That's evidence. Evidence builds identity. Fourth principle. The obstacle is the training ground. Every time something is harder than you expected, that's not a problem. That's the point. You don't build strength lifting light weight. You don't build discipline doing easy things. The Stoics didn't avoid hardship. They used it. They saw every frustration, every delay, every setback as an opportunity to practice control. Not control over the event, control over their response. Modern example. You set a goal to work on a project every morning. First week, you miss 2 days. Most people quit there. They say, see, I'm not consistent, this isn't working, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But that's the moment discipline is built. Not when it's easy. When it's hard. When you missed 2 days, and you choose to show up on day 8 anyway. That's the rep that counts. That's where character forms. Action step. The next time you break a streak or fail at something you committed to, do not spiral, do not quit. Do one thing. Get back on track immediately. Miss a workout. Do 10 push-ups right now. Skip your writing time. Write 1 sentence before bed. The speed of your recovery matters more than the mistake. Discipline isn't perfection. It's resilience. Fifth principle. Discipline creates space. This is the part most people never reach because they quit too early. In the beginning, discipline feels like restriction. Like you're giving something up. But after weeks, after months, you realize you're not losing freedom. You're gaining it. Because the time you used to waste deciding, debating, distracting, that's gone. You just do. And suddenly, you have energy left over. Mental space. Clarity. Time. The Stoics called this tranquility. Not the absence of challenge, but the absence of internal chaos. When you stop negotiating with yourself, your mind gets quiet. You're no longer fighting yourself to get out of bed, to start the work, to say no to distraction. It's automatic. And that automation is freedom. You're free to think, to create, to be present. Because the foundation is solid. Action step. At the end of each week, write down one thing discipline gave you back. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's just the absence of guilt. Name it. Notice it. This is how you start to see discipline not as a burden, but as the thing that gives you everything else. Now let's talk about someone who lived this. Not a philosopher in a quiet room. Someone in the middle of chaos, pressure, and impossible expectations. A leader who had every reason to lose control and every temptation to choose comfort. But didn't. He built systems. He built routines. And those routines held him together when everything else tried to tear him apart. Every morning, before the day started, he wrote. Not because he felt like it. Because it was part of the structure. It didn't matter if he slept poorly. It didn't matter if the weight of decisions was crushing. He showed up to the page. He reflected. He reminded himself what mattered. And that practice, that private discipline, shaped how he showed up publicly. People saw composure, clarity, strength under pressure. But it wasn't natural, it was built. One morning at a time. One decision at a time. One moment of choosing the hard right thing over the easy wrong thing. He didn't have fewer problems than anyone else. He had more. But he had a system that wouldn't bend. And when you have that, problems become manageable. Not because they're smaller, because you're stronger. That's what discipline does. It doesn't remove obstacles. It makes you the kind of person who walks through them without breaking. So here's the question. What's one thing in your life right now that feels hard because you keep starting over? Maybe it's your health, your focus, your work, your relationships. You know what you should do. You've tried before, but it didn't stick. Why? Because you waited for it to feel easy. You waited for motivation. You waited for the perfect moment. And while you waited, nothing changed. Discipline doesn't wait. It acts. It builds. It compounds. And the freedom you're looking for, the clarity, the confidence, the control, it's on the other side of the repetition. Not the first day. Not the first week. But if you keep going, if you stop quitting every time it feels uncomfortable, you'll reach a point where the hard thing becomes the automatic thing. And that's when everything shifts. You'll stop wondering if you're capable. You'll know. Not because someone told you. Because you proved it to yourself. One decision at a time. One morning at a time. One moment of doing the thing when every part of you wanted to quit. That proof is unshakable. That proof is freedom. If this resonated, don't let it end here. Thoughtful content like this exists because people choose to engage with ideas that challenge comfort. Subscribe if you want more philosophy that helps you think clearly and act decisively. And before you move on, take 30 seconds. Write down one insight from this video that you'll actually use. Not save for later. Use today. That's how ideas become action. That's how action becomes identity. Thanks for being here. Now go build something that lasts.